Joining me right now is the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy Director, Peter Navarro. Peter, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria.
So just a week ago, we heard Secretary Mnuchin say the trade war was on hold. Is it not on hold?
No. It was an unfortunate soundbite. There's two things to say. One, this is a trade dispute that we're having with China. And number two, as President Trump said, we lost a trade war long ago. President Obama, Bush, Clinton, going on back in history. We lost that trade war when China joined the World Trade Organization. When we got into NAFTA, President Trump has the courage and vision to turn that around.
Okay, so let's go through it. I've got the statement yesterday from the White House trying to protect national security. Statement on steps to protect domestic technology and intellectual property from China's discriminatory and burdensome trade practices. Peter, we know the issues. China has been stealing intellectual property for years, and they are forcing technology transfer. Go through what you're trying to do here.
So the 301 investigation by Ambassador Lighthizer found exactly that, but it's not just theft. It's not just the forced transfer of technology when an American company goes on Chinese soil. It's also the evasion of export controls, which are designed to protect militarily sensitive technology. And it's also the acquisition by state-owned enterprises of China coming in here and buying the crown jewels of places like Silicon Valley. So this action by the president, a very strong action in defense of the crown jewels of American technology, does two things. The tariffs are designed to defend our American technology companies from the kind of economic predation we've seen China engage in with their unfair trade practices, going after industries like solar. For example, we used to have 32 companies, solar companies here in America. We're down to 2 because the Chinese, by state edict, go in and attack those industries and then take them over. We don't want that to happen to artificial intelligence or robotics or blockchain technology. So the tariffs are put in place purely as a defensive measure. Then equally or even more important, there's a regime of investment restrictions and export controls which are designed to prevent Chinese state money coming in and buying up the American technology companies. So this was a very strong step by the president that derived from a very detailed report by the United States Trade Representative. It's bullish news for corporate America, which has long time complained rightly about Chinese predation with respect to their IP and their technologies. So going forward, that's going to be a key part of our China policy.
Are you expecting a retaliatory move from China? Are you expecting China to put 25% tariffs on U.S. goods?
Well, certainly we're ready for anything that the Chinese state wants to do in response to our legitimate defense of our intellectual property and technology. I think in terms of this issue has united America. We have Senator Schumer and Senator Rubio saying exactly the same thing. We need to defend those crown jewels. We have papers on the left and the right and in the center saying the same thing. And Americans, every day when they wake up, they know what China is doing to us. That's part of the reason why there's such strong support for President Donald J. Trump. So we're here. We're resolute. We will do this. The president has said that this is a key issue, and he has laid that marker down. And we'll see what happens.
I want to ask you about how you really defend this. But first, has China admitted that they steal our intellectual property, Peter? I mean, how do you stop somebody from doing something when they don't even admit that they're doing it? Have they admitted it?
Yeah, that's kind of the Orwellian aspect of this whole thing. When I traveled to Beijing with the team and we were presented with a set of counter demands to our legitimate grievances, there was no admission of any of this. They claimed they were the biggest victims, for example, of cyber theft. In fact, they've got literally tens of thousands of civilian and military personnel that are engaged in a systematic attacks, not just on American companies, but on companies and governments around the world. They don't admit to the forced technology transfer. This is the practice, Maria, where if you're an American company, you go there. If you want to sell into the Chinese market, you got to give away your stuff. They don't even admit to that. So it's difficult. It's Orwellian, but that's the Chinese state. It's an authoritarian propaganda state. But here in America, we will defend our technology and crown jewels. We'll do it in a measured way. And I have to commend Ambassador Robert Lighthizer. That report, every American should read that report because it documents chapter and verse the kinds of harmful acts, practices, and policies that the Chinese are engaged in that basically take our prosperity from us and our national security.
Yeah, I have the report in front of me. It was a great report. I agree, Peter. Let me ask you this, because it's not just the obvious ways that they're taking our technology by investing in a company in Silicon Valley and saying you're going to get a 49% joint venture, but first you got to tell us all about your technology. It's not, I mean, that's the obvious part. But there are also Chinese citizens working at important companies in Silicon Valley. There are already partnerships with American companies that are operating in China, like Google and all these others. So really, how are you going to enforce this? Is this really enforceable? Is there any way to really, at the end of the day, stop China from doing what it's doing? Maybe you could slow them down, but it feels like there are a lot of other ways they're doing this. Academically, having, Chinese citizens come and be in our institutions and then work here, get the technology, and then bring it back to China. Can you really enforce this and change this?
Well, what's remarkable to me, Maria, is that the previous presidents we've had in recent years, Obama, Bush, Clinton, they didn't even recognize this was a problem. If anyone can stop this from happening, it's going to be Donald J. Trump, because he's a president that sees the chessboard very clearly. I would recommend some of the testimony that's been given on Capitol Hill on this issue of Chinese nationals going in, for example, to our national labs and taking back technology for something like the hypersonic glide vehicle. That's a vehicle that flies at Mach 5 and is able to elude defense systems, and it could come into play in places like the South China Sea if we have trouble there. So these are issues, but I can assure you, Maria, that we're going about this in a measured way. We're interested only in economic prosperity and national security, and the president is taking strong steps like he did yesterday. And it's courage. It takes courage to do this, Maria, because there's a lot of criticism of taking these kinds of steps from the usual suspects. But this is important for America, and the president is resolute.
Yeah, there's an article that I was looking at yesterday from a Chinese newspaper. President Xi calls for developing China into world science and technology leader. Just as you said, they have their plans for 2025, and they're moving forward. But let me ask you this. What about the reports that they were going to buy $200 billion of all the agricultural products? Is that still on, or was there no deal to begin with?
I think the problem we've had with the narrative is the clarity of the problem, which is to say that we have two problems with China that we presented grievances for. One is this theft acquisition of our technology. Right. That's a huge issue. Huge. We're dealing with it. But there's also the matter of the $500 billion that China exports to us every year in products, and this gross trade imbalance. And people can debate whether trade deficits are good or bad, but I will tell you this. Any trade deficit that comes about because of unfair trade practices is a bad one that needs to be dealt with. So we have to deal with that as well.
So are they going to buy the $200 billion or not?
Well, interesting. Even if they promise to buy whatever it is they want to buy, we have issues because, for example, they promised to buy more beef. Where's the beef? Right. Where's the beef?
Peter, it's good to have you on the show this morning. Thank you.